Imagine a home where walls seem to breathe with the forest, where the ocean air doesn't just brush past the windows, but curls inside, wrapping itself around you. A home where the line between indoors and outdoors simply vanishes. This isn't fantasy. This isn't escape. This is the story of the tropical Barndominium. At first glance, it feels simple. Timber beams, wide roofs, and the embrace of shade beneath. But simplicity here is deceptive. Every piece of wood, every angle of the roof, every open stretch of veranda carries a purpose, an invitation to live in rhythm with nature. You see, a tropical barndominium isn't built to shut the world out. It's built to welcome it in. The rain doesn't fall against glass in defiance. It joins the design, a song on the roof, a gift to the gardens. The wind isn't blocked. It flows freely, cooling, cleansing, alive. This is more than architecture. This is philosophy. It whispers freedom. Freedom from walls that suffocate. Freedom from a lifestyle sealed behind concrete and steel. Here, space expands without permission. Rooms breathe into courtyards. Kitchens spill into terraces. The horizon belongs to you. But to understand it fully, you must let go of what you think a house should be. A tropical barndominium doesn't just protect you. It asks you to surrender. To the warmth of the sun. To the rhythm of monsoon rains. To the hum of cicadas in the evening air. And maybe that's the secret. It isn't about luxury or perfection. It's about belonging. Belonging to the land, to the tropics, to something larger than ourselves. So when you think of a tropical barndominium, don't just picture walls and a roof. Picture a way of life. One that doesn't separate you from nature, but binds you to it. In every breath, in every breeze, in every moment. Did you know that 70% of homeowners feel their space doesn't reflect their style? Don't be part of that statistic. Subscribe and start designing a home that truly feels yours. When we talk about escape, most of us picture a plane ticket, a faraway beach, or a retreat from the noise of daily life. But sometimes escape is built, not found. That's the quiet promise of the tropical barndominium. It begins with simplicity, not the sterile kind, but the kind that feels like exhaling after years of holding your breath. Simplicity that strips away the clutter and reveals what actually matters. Air, light, and space to just be. Here, you don't find yourself surrounded by glass towers, honking horns, and endless asphalt. Instead, you arrive at a sanctuary, a place where time slows and the edges of life soften, where the rhythm of the day is no longer set by deadlines and alarms, but by the rise of the sun and the hush of the evening breeze. The design whispers of its roots, barn architecture, strong, grounded, practical. But here, that old soul has been reborn with the tropics in mind. Wide verandas stretch out like open arms. High-pitched roofs shelter you from sudden storms. And everywhere you turn, there's a reminder that the island itself is part of the home. But the magic isn't in the measurements. It's not in square footage or floor plans. It's in the way the morning sun lingers across polished wood floors, painting golden patterns that change by the minute. It's in the soft percussion of rain on a tin roof, turning what could be a storm into a lullaby. It's in the scent of wet earth drifting through open windows, reminding you that you belong to something larger. A tropical barndominium isn't just shelter. It's a place where escape becomes a daily experience, where home itself feels like freedom. But to truly understand why these designs matter, we have to step inside. A beautiful home is not a dream. It's an art, and you're the artist. Subscribe and start creating spaces that speak to the soul. Step closer, and you begin to see it, the soul of the tropical barndominium. At first, it's the silhouette that catches your eye. Bold gables, strong and certain, rising with the confidence of tradition. Yet they are softened, almost humbled, by the lush embrace of tropical flora. Vines curl along beams, palms frame the edges, and suddenly the structure feels less like it was built on the land and more like it was grown from it. Then there are the verandas, wide, generous, dissolving into the green that surrounds them. They are not boundaries but invitations, a reminder that here, Living isn't confined to four walls. Step forward, and you are outside. Step back, and you are home. The line between the two blurs until you no longer feel the need to define it. And then, the materials. They weren't chosen to impress, but to connect. Bamboo that bends, but doesn't break. Reclaimed hardwoods, polished by hands yet scarred by history. Woven wrought tan, textured and warm beneath the fingertips. Each one alive with memory, carrying whispers of where it came from and what it has endured. Every piece tells a story. The wood remembers storms. The stone remembers rivers. These aren't just elements of construction. They're fragments of nature, stitched together into a dwelling that is both shelter and storyteller. And in this weaving of structure and spirit, something remarkable happens: harmony. The architecture doesn't stand against the tropics, it leans into it. Shade falls where it's needed. Breezes pass without resistance. The house doesn't try to conquer its environment. It learns from it, partners with it, becomes part of it. This is where the soul reveals itself. Not in grandeur, not in perfection, but in belonging. The tropical Barndominium isn't an object to be admired. It's a living space that feels alive because it remembers where it came from. Transform your home. Transform your life. Subscribe now, and let's create spaces you'll love forever. To live in a tropical Barndominium is to live in constant conversation with nature. It's not a house sealed tight, shutting the outside world away. It's a home designed to breathe. Open floor plans stretch wide, inviting the air to move as it wishes. Breezes slip through, carrying with them the scent of salt, of rain, of earth still warm from the sun. Here, comfort isn't manufactured by machines. It drifts naturally, room to room, effortless and free. Cross-ventilation becomes the quiet heartbeat of the design. Windows and doors align not by accident, but by intention, allowing the wind to sweep across spaces, cooling, cleansing, reminding you that air is alive. Instead of closing yourself off, you surrender to its flow, and in return, it carries away the weight of stillness. Even the roof tells its own story. In most homes, rain is treated like an intruder, pushed aside, hidden from view, silenced before it ever arrives. But here, the rooflines are shaped to welcome it, to guide it, to turn a downpour into nourishment. Because here, the rain isn't the enemy. It's a companion, cooling the earth, feeding the gardens, filling the tanks that sustain the home long after the storm has passed. And yet, this harmony doesn't happen by chance. It's not effortless. It requires foresight, an understanding of the land, of the seasons, of the language spoken by wind and water. It requires trust, too. Trust that the home will stand not above nature, but beside it. That the partnership between architecture and environment is strong enough to last. In this balance lies the true gift of tropical design. It asks something of you: patience, respect, surrender. And in exchange, it offers a way of living that feels not separate from the world around you, but deeply, undeniably part of it. Behind every tropical Barndominium lies a secret language, a quiet exchange between builder and environment. It isn't obvious at first glance. You see the beauty, the openness, the flow. But hidden in the details is a dialogue, one that speaks of resilience, foresight, and respect. Take the foundations. In places where the land can flood with little warning, the home is lifted, elevated, not to dominate, but to endure. It rises just enough to remain safe, acknowledging the power of water while still allowing the earth to breathe beneath it. Look closer at the eaves, stretching wide like protective wings. They aren't decoration. They shield glass from the relentless tropical sun, softening its intensity, creating shade that cools without closing off the world outside. The house doesn't fight the sun, it negotiates with it, balancing warmth with comfort. And then there's the wood. Not taken thoughtlessly, not stripped from forests without care, but chosen with intention. Reclaimed timbers that carry history in their grain. Bamboo that renews itself quickly, offering strength without exhaustion. Every beam, every plank is a reminder that building here is not about consuming nature. It's about giving back, about sustaining the very land that makes this way of living possible. These choices may seem small, but together they form something larger. a philosophy written into the bones of the home. This is an architecture imposed on nature. It's a dialogue, a partnership, a vow that says, we will live here, but we will not harm you. A vow that says, we will build strong, but we will build with care. A vow that says, this house will not stand against the tropics, but with them. And in that hidden craft, in that quiet promise, lies the true strength of a tropical barndominium, not in how it looks, but in how deeply it listens. The dream of a tropical barndominium is intoxicating. A home open to the breeze, surrounded by green, alive with light. It feels like paradise, a perfect escape from the ordinary. But every dream carries a shadow, and here, reality waits patiently to be acknowledged. The tropics are generous, but they are not easy. Humidity lingers in the air, seeping into wood, into stone, into the very bones of the house. Maintenance becomes a ritual, sanding, sealing, repairing, protecting. Nature always leaves her mark, and living here means learning not to resent it, but to tend to it. To understand that care is not a chore, but a conversation with the climate itself. And then there is the balance, modern comforts against raw simplicity. The open spaces that let the wind move freely don't always align with air-conditioned expectations. Technology can be added,